उज़ैर सिस्टम्स इंजीनियर हैं। वो उनके पास उनकी I'm just gonna go in English, okay? So he has a degree in mechatronics systems engineering, and he's currently pursuing his master's in electrical and computer engineering.
माशाल्लाह।
तो ये मेरे लिए भी आज न्यूज़ है। ये मेरे सन इन लॉ हैं
अच्छा,
जी,
वाह।
तो मुझे पता है ये मास्टर्स
अपने
कर
मदर
रहे
इन
हैं।
लॉ के सामने प्रेजेंटेशन देते हुए आपको
माशाल्लाह।
तो नहीं आएगी।
तो ये पता है कि ये मास्टर्स कर रहे हैं इसमें,
हाँ,
लेकिन मुझे ये अंदाजा नहीं था कि ये इतने और आगे जा रहे हैं इतने।
अच्छा।
सो आजकल ये एक कंपनी के साथ जुड़े हुए हैं जो इनकी फुल टाइम जॉब है। इट्स कॉल्ड ई साइट। ये खुद बताएंगे, आपको बेहतर शायद बता सकेंगे कि ये क्या करते हैं वहाँ पे। और
Yeah.
क्यों क्योंकि ये मेरे सन इन लॉ हैं, तो मैं दो बातें आपके साथ और शेयर करूंगी। ही इज पैशनेट अबाउट सॉकर,
ओके।
और ये -30 में भी सॉकर खेलने जा रहे होते हैं रात को। सो दैट इज पैशन।
रियल ट्रू कैनेडियन।
ही इज अ ट्रू कैनेडियन एंड ही इज एन अमेजिंग कुक।
वाओ।
और कुछ भी बना लेते हैं फटाफट।
आपकी डॉटर बहुत फॉर्चुनेट है।
She is indeed. She is indeed. So, with that, I invite you to start your presentation. Uzair, the floor is yours.
Perfect. So yeah, like you mentioned that I work for eSci. Let me share with you guys what that company is, just so that you guys know. Let me see here. I can share my screen. Okay. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the company eSight that I work for. They make basically low vision devices for legally blind people. So you can see here, like this is the device that you wear on your head, and I can show you somebody wearing it, like this girl. You can see her wearing that device on her head. These are like electronic glasses for people who are blind. It basically legally blind and have like multiple like diseases, for example, diabetic retinopathy, and here's a list of diseases: cataracts, diabetic retinopathy, macular degeneration. Here's an example of somebody who has that disease. This is what their vision looks like. You can see the center part of their vision is dark, is black, right? And with our device, we try to make it look like this to correct that vision. So yeah, it's a medical device, but yeah, it basically helps legally blind people see better, have a 20/20 vision. So yeah, that's my day job. That's what I do now. Like she said, I also am doing my master's in electrical and computer engineering, focusing on artificial intelligence. I also have a son and another one who's due in 2-3 weeks, I would say, a month. So yeah, and yeah, that's what I do. So I previously have worked for SNC Levelin. I was a security analyst for them, basically doing cybersecurity things, which today I will talk about. Let me share my slides here. Just 1 second. Okay, so can you guys see my the slides here?
Yes.
Okay. Also, like before I start, I just want to let you guys know is that like sometimes I do tend to speak a little fast when I'm like explaining things or reading things. So if I'm going too fast or if there's something that you guys don't understand, please do let me know. Like, we will stop and I will explain it again, because I do want you guys to follow along. And what we will do today is, like, here is the, like, basically today we'll talk about cybersecurity essentials, and I will explain to you guys like what that means, how you guys are concerned with it, and everything. So on our agenda, we will basically answer these 4 questions. Like, what is cybersecurity? Why should we care? What are the threats? And finally, how can we protect ourselves? Because first, it's important to understand like what cybersecurity is, right? And also, how does it affect each and every one of you, right? Because all of you, like, for example, right now are using technology to talk to each other. So every day, everybody uses technology to communicate, to live their lives. And cybersecurity is a huge part of that nowadays. And obviously, I will go in further detail about each and every one of these topics. And also then I will talk about what are the threats, what you guys should be what you guys should be worried about, and how bad it is, and what the situation is in the world relating to these threats and cybersecurity and hacking and all of that stuff. And then finally, like, what we can do, what you guys can do personally to protect yourselves. So let me see here. So first topic will be, what is cybersecurity? I will start by explaining to you guys like what it means, and what it encompasses. It's a broad term. It's confusing to some people sometimes, but I will like try to explain to you guys like what it means and what all its branches are. It's a huge field of study now, because of how the world is going and with the technology and everything, how things are moving. So there's a lot of money that's being spent in cybersecurity. So basically, what cybersecurity is, it refers to the body of technologies, processes, practices designed to protect networks, devices, programs, and data from attack, damage, or unauthorized access. Now, I know this is a really big statement with a lot of words, keywords here. Let me explain each of them one by one. So what this is saying is that cybersecurity is not just your computer and your antivirus program, or your basically bank, or your password that you use to log in today, or the passcode that you use to log into this meeting today. That's one sort of prevention from anybody logging into this meeting, right? Is that you guys create a link and then you give everybody a meeting passcode that you use to log in. So cybersecurity involves in basically protecting humans or whoever uses those technologies from bad things from happening. Like, in basic terms, what it means is, like, the technologies, when it says here technologies, that means your laptop, your cell phone, your internet company, their equipment, your router that you have at home, and your telephone wires, your fiber optic wires, everything that is used to communicate or to connect you guys with each other, right? Everything, all the devices that are used comes under this technologies. So cybersecurity is about that technology, like all the devices. Then it's about processes. This processes, you guys don't like, it's a little out of the scope of this, like, basically presentation, is because it's complicated in a way that, for example, what this means is that throughout like history, or the last, like, let's say 70, 80 years at least, like, what happens is, like, any new technology that comes along, we use it, we find out there's something wrong with it, or we find out that somebody was using it in a bad way to harm people. So then, as a result, we update our processes so that we can actually prevent those bad things from happening, to improve our process of doing things, right? Like, as is with like everything, like, for example, like you're cooking, right? you find out that okay, like my food is burnt, right? Like if I'm doing the onions at the start, like it's burnt. So what would you do? You would basically reduce the heat so it doesn't burn, or you would like basically not leave the kitchen. So you are improving your process of doing something because you don't want bad things to happen. So it's the same thing. Now, like these processes are employed by banks and your internet companies and everybody to help you guys not be attacked or like hacked, or to protect your information and your assets. And that now the practices here are now the users, you guys, what you guys do. Because if banks and companies and internet companies and cell phone providers and your laptops, they can do whatever they want. Like they can do as much as they can, but they can't stop you from giving somebody your password, right? Just sharing your information with somebody that you were not supposed to. Like somebody asks you, what's your password? Obviously, you wouldn't tell them, right? Just like if somebody comes to you, they're like, oh, can you tell me the PIN number on your like debit card? You wouldn't tell them, because you know that's not best practice. Because if you tell them, then they can use it to use your card and steal money from you. So the practices are basically you guys and what you guys can do to protect yourselves. So all of these technologies, processes, and practice, they are designed to protect networks, devices, programs, and data. Basically, what I said about your devices, your everything, your cell phone, your phone, your TVs, your laptops, everything, anything you use, your smartwatch that you have, or anything you use to protect those things. That is what cybersecurity is. Let's move on here. So this is basically the different elements of cybersecurity. Now, I will talk briefly about this, but don't worry if you guys don't understand this, or because this is not important. This is just for me to give you guys a background and to at least tell you guys how important this is and why you should be worried about this stuff, right? And also maybe so that you guys will appreciate the effort and the time and the energy and the money and the resources being spent on these things and why they're so important. Now, these are the elements of like a system that we create to protect each other or ourselves from being, hacked, or like giving our data to somebody who's not supposed to, like we're not supposed to give them. So there's application security, which means that I'll give you guys an example. If you're using like, if you have your phone and you downloaded an app for your bank account, right? Like a Scotiabank app or a TD Bank app. Now that application needs to be up to date. Like what that means is that you guys can do whatever you can. Like you don't share your password or anything, but there's something wrong with the application or the bank gets hacked, right? Then it's still your money, your data that gets lost. So the entire system, like there's like tons and tons of people who are dedicated to improve these things, like the software, so that other people cannot hack them. Then there's network security. This network security means like your telephone wires, your internet wires, which we use to transport data, right? So that's like securing those. Because believe it or not, it's very easy for people to hack by just tapping into the telephone. Like in like long time ago, they used to tap phones. The way they did it is just like connect their wire to the telephone wire, and they get all the signals to their phone. So then they can hear everything that you are hearing, like your phones, right? So now what they do is, like, for example, it was a huge case. I'll give you guys like a background on that. Is when you get off the plane, when you take a flight somewhere, when you get off your plane, right? You turn your cell phone from airplane mode to regular, because the airline tells you that, can you please turn your cell phone off or turn it into airplane mode so you don't get connected to the carrier, the service or whatever, right? Now, as soon as you turn the phone on, somebody can create their own tower and divert you from the cell phone company's tower to their tower. Now, what happens is they will still give you the cell phone service, but now they have your data. They can use your data. Now there's this stuff you don't have to worry about. Then again, there's a lot of people, a lot of companies who are dedicating a lot of resources to protect us from this. And the same with data security. Basically, your medical records, like you go to the doctor, they do like all sorts of tests and x-rays. Now they're not supposed to share that with anybody, right? It's their responsibility to protect your data, like your medical records, your bank information, how much money you have, all other things that can be used against you. That's data security. Identity management is basically so that somebody cannot steal your identity, use your credit card, your driver's license to order something or buy something, right? Identity theft is like a huge issue that is to this day. People like suffer from that. And these other things are all related to like database management, and all of these are related to one thing. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about that because they're not relevant. It's just that all the other things like the cloud where you store your data can be secure. And at the end of this is the disaster recovery. This means that every business has to have a plan. Like, for example, your bank has a plan. Like if your credit card gets stolen, they insure you. You're not going to lose the money, right? So that's the bank's disaster recovery. Every company should have a disaster recovery if they lose your data. Like, for example, the hospital loses your health records, they need to do something, like otherwise you can sue them, right? So they have a disaster recovery that goes into basically this entire system that is comprised of that we call a cybersecurity system, just to protect one human being from being maliciously attacked by like hackers and have their information lost or lose money or worse. So that's basically the overview of what cybersecurity is. Now I know it's a lot of information. I will pause for like a minute and see if you guys have any questions or if there's something that you guys didn't understand, so that if you guys do, please answer. I'm here to answer the question. I will pause. Yes. I think you're on mute.
Myself, Narendra.
Hi.
Hi. Should I say?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, from last few days, whenever I open my phone, I always get this call. Did you ring me? I said, never. You rang me. And I have never done. And sometimes it happens, unknown, unviewed number, new number, they are calling me, ringing me, and I say, hello. But I didn't reply, and they stop. So many, in one day, 5 or 6 of this type of calls are coming to me.
Okay. So yeah, that's something that I will like talk about in the next slides. But what I will tell you right now is that the only way for you to deal with that is block the number. If there is a number that comes up that you don't identify, block that number. And also, if you don't know the person who's calling you, or if it's an unknown number, don't pick up. That's the best thing you can do. Don't answer the phone. Block the number. And also, like, it's okay to be careful than to later get, like lose your money or information, or be like going through that, right? So those are the best practices in this scenario, is that if you don't know who it is, just block. Because I will explain that in the next slides too, is that there's whole companies who are basically, whose job, they hire people whose job it is to find information about you and call you again and again.
Sometimes
there's people who are sitting there who are doing this.
Sometimes the calls are from Vancouver, sometimes California, sometimes somewhere else. I don't know even the name. Sometimes from French.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't recognize, if they're not in your contacts, then just block them and don't answer the calls.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you don't ever answer the calls. Yeah. So yes, go ahead.
After calling, sometime if I am in puzzle that whose number can be this, if I say hello, then I stopped myself.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good because like if you engage, that gives them like room to like basically like, which I will talk about later too, is that they use all sorts of techniques to basically get you to answer or to trap you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I will discuss that too. But yeah. Uh,
Thank you.
but yeah, so yeah, basically for now I would say just block the numbers that you do, the numbers that do show up. If it's an unknown number, just don't pick up.
Okay, thank you.
Uzair, we do have Asma, Warsi, and Gulnaz.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
Asma,
Asma ji, you go ahead.
Asma, unmute yourself, please.
I had just a quick question. You said that block that or log that number. So I get a lot of phone calls too, like Narendra was talking about. I just don't pick up the phone, but
Yeah.
it's quite possible that sometimes a child is there and they pick up the phone. So how can you lock those numbers?
So you can block those numbers depending on what phone you have. Like maybe I can send you guys some after this presentation. I'll send you guys like the instructions for iPhone and Samsung, Android, all those things, like how you can block calls on your phone.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
I'll put it in a PDF or a spreadsheet, and I'll send it to you guys. You guys can read it and follow those instructions. That will explain to you how to block a call. Now, when you block them, the next time they call, it's not gonna ring. You know, you're not gonna receive that call, whoever it was. So yeah, but yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's just yeah. Sometimes I know, I understand. Sometimes like kids pick up the phone and they start talking. At least they can't give, at least the kids, as long as the kids also don't give any information about you, you're safe. But it's just that don't ever give any information to anyone that you don't know or you're not sure about. Is like basically what I will like talk about next. But if you guys have any questions about like what all of this stuff, like cybersecurity, like what I explained now means, then please let me know. Otherwise I will move on.
One question more. Gulnaz, you ask.
Gulnaz is next, yeah.
I have the question about the very first thing which you talk about, where you are doing your job, the e-site. You told that they have some type of glasses for the legally blind persons, they can see. I know my brother-in-law, he has a problem. He has retina detachment, but not a complete. He can see everything, but from 6-7 years, because he can't, there is no glasses for them, so his license was cancelled. He can't drive anymore. He is legally blind. So now it's possible that they can they have the glasses now.
Yeah, they do. It's just that one thing is that those glasses don't basically work for everybody, but they do work. And I don't know where your brother-in-law. It's your brother or your brother-in-law? You said?
No, my brother-in-law, my husband's elder brother.
Okay.
He is in USA.
So yeah, I mean, oh, he's in US. Okay, yeah. So depending on where he is, we can have him try those glasses. Like if you want, we can like just give me his contact. I can have our salespeople contact him, and we can basically send him those glasses, right? He can try. He can just check them. He can try them. If they work, then yeah, he can keep. Otherwise, like we can just return it to us, right? The glasses are a little expensive. They're $7,000 US. But
the problem, sorry to interrupt. Actually, problem is that he can see, he can do everything. He can use a binocular to read his cell phone. But
Oh, okay.
my question was that by using that glasses, he can be able to get back his license. That's why I was
No.
asking that.
So yeah, so far, like the people I have seen, like you cannot get like a driver's license back on those classes. I don't know about US, like at least in Canada, like you cannot. But because I think they consider that as a, I don't remember the law, but I can find out. We can check, but most likely, I think
Okay. Okay.
we don't recommend driving with the glasses because the glasses are battery powered. So if you're driving and your battery is dead, then
Oh,
then it's gonna be a
okay.
problem, right? Then it can be really
Yeah.
dangerous.
So even in that case, they will not get back their license.
Yeah, it's a safety concern at that point, right?
Yeah.
That's why we
Thank
don't
you so
recommend people
much.
driving. Yeah, no problem. Okay, and there was one more person who wanted to ask something.
One more
Okay.
question.
Sure. Yes.
Sometimes I get the call that we are speaking from the security, Ontario security. We sent you the letter, you didn't receive, and you are caught. You were caught on the border, and we want, let us know your SIN card number.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's like a
Listening this, I
perfect
always.
example. Yeah. So now like that's like a perfect example of the things that you should look out for. And okay, let me move on to the next slides, and in which I will talk about all these things like that, what you just said, like the cause and everything, and how to identify if it's a scam or not. Like it's in the next slides. Let me move on, and that will answer your question. Okay, so moving on to topic 2, which is why should we care about all of this stuff? Like clearly, like as you guys can see, people get like a lot of calls, and believe it or not, in a lot of cases, people basically lose a lot of money. I have seen cases where this one person, they lost their entire like retirement savings, about like $70,000-$80,000 to a scammer like that. Yeah. And I will share some numbers with you guys next. This is a chart of basically the expense or the losses due to these cyber attacks. Like these cyber attacks are not just basically people calling you guys and asking for information or scaring you so you give them the information. It's also companies being hacked, big companies, and data being leaked and everything. So you can see this is from in US, not in Canada. In US, in California alone, last year there was $621 million losses in 1 year due to cyber attacks. And in New York, it's $415 million. And you guys can see, if you add this up, it's multi-billion-dollar losses in 1 year just because of these cyber attacks. And all of this is people who are losing their money. One person is losing 10,000, another person is losing 20,000 just from scams and everything, right? So it's getting a lot worse. Like when I was saying that, there's companies like India, Pakistan, and all over these places that hire people to just sit there and make these calls. Like you're getting, like most of you are getting like the calls about, oh, you were like stuck at the border, oh, your bank account is frozen, log in here to unfreeze it, like stuff like that. There's people who are just sitting there all day who do these calls. So there's a lot of resources that, for example, like on this side, like let's say I work for a company, SNC. They're paying me to make sure that they don't get hacked right now. But on the other side, there's some companies who are paying people to hack other companies, right? So it's like it's a war, right? It's like a 2 or 4. Like it's whoever wins, whoever's the smarter, whoever gets ahead, right? Like it's like our job to prevent them from not hacking. It's their job to hack us. You guys must have seen in the news that the Russian government, the Russians hacked the US or everything. It's true. Russians and basically US, Canada, they all have dedicated branches to doing that, like cybersecurity branches who do that. Like, it's not just prevention, it's also making sure that it's like also attack, like defense and attack both. So this is like from this chart, you guys can see there's like a multi-billion-dollar a year loss for a country. Now, what's even worse is like the projections is that cybercrime will cost about 10.5 trillion by 2025 annually. That's 1 year. In 1 year, 10.5 trillion. 10.5 trillion is like a lot of money. That's more than what countries are worth, like small countries, right? That's more, a lot more in terms of GDP from like small countries, like 10.5 trillion to the entire world. That's a lot of money. This much money can solve world hunger, literally. If we use this much money to solve our issues, like we will never run out of food. But this is how much money is being lost in cybercrime, like people scamming each other, right? Like calling like other people, taking advantage and, you know, getting their monies. So the importance of cybersecurity is that, you know, like what I was saying before, like when you go to the bank, you give them some information about your phone number, your house address, your social insurance number, right? Like you just got a scam call asking for social insurance number. We give that information to banks there, and also like our records are like personal records. And the reason why banks, so you guys know like why we need social insurance number, right? What's the need of having a social insurance number? It's your identity. It's how the government identifies you. It's how the government knows like if you're paying your taxes. It's how the government knows your pension. It's like the other benefits. Everything is related to this information. Now, if somebody else has that information, they can use it to basically steal from you and you wouldn't even know it, right? They can use you to do crimes, to steal and to borrow and to take a loan out for your with your name on it, right? And you wouldn't even know. So that's why it's very important for the government, military, and like banks and hospitals to protect your information. And that's what basically these two sentences here mean. Like the data that you give, the information that you give banks can include sensitive information about you that can like for which, like if there's unauthorized access, which means that if a hacker or somebody who's not supposed to know that information about you gets it, they can use it to like do all sorts of damages to you. Okay, now topic 3, which is what are the threats, right? Now this is where we're coming to the questions that you guys had about like calls and everything. So now we're getting into that area now. So there's a term called social engineering. It's these calls and these scams and everything are so common that now we have a term for it. Like we have a name for it. It's called social engineering. That's how common. That's how much it happens. Basically, it's a term used for a broad range of malicious activities accomplished through human interactions. Basically, human interaction is somebody calling you, right? And it uses psychological manipulation, right? Psychological manipulation is that somebody called, they said you were stopped at the border or caught at the border, right? Give us your SIN. So basically they're manipulating you psychologically. They're creating fear so that you don't have time to think and you panic and you all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm in trouble. And then you give them the information they need so that you won't be in trouble anymore, right? So that's like psychologically they're like manipulating you. It's basically uses psychological manipulation to trick users into making security mistakes and giving away sensitive information. Security mistake and sensitive information is you giving your SIN number, for example. That's why I said it was a perfect example. What you shared is you giving away your information, your SIN or your bank account or your anything, right? your name, your address, your phone, all of those are information that can be used to identify you, right? So the term for that is like when people use this information or these things, these techniques to get information out of you, it's called social engineering. It's a confusing term, but that's what it is. So don't worry too much about this term. Now, social engineering life cycle is basically like how these people like who call you guys and who try to get information, how they work is like the basic pattern for them is they first identify their victim, they gather background information, and then they select the attack methods. For example, they basically saw that, okay, you're living here. Maybe they saw that like somehow they got the information that you traveled to India, to Pakistan, to somewhere across the border, right? And they're like, okay, this person traveled. Now we can use that information to say that, oh, by the way, you forgot something at the airport and we have it and it's bad. You're gonna get charged. Like the police is gonna show up, blah, blah, blah. Or, you know, the border agents found something about you just because they know that you traveled, right? That's how they can use that small amount of information against you. So that's why any information about you can be used against you, right? So the fact that you travel, the fact that you go grocery shopping to this one Walmart, to this one store, right? They can use that against you. They can basically, if they have your phone number, they're gonna keep calling you, right? That's how they use that information. All sorts of things, right? So anything that can personally identify you, they can use against you. Now, the next step is like, it's called the hook, where they call you. That's engaging the target, spinning a story, taking control of the interaction. They call you, they engage you, they make up an entire story. Oh, but the truth is that you just went for like a vacation to another country and you came back, but they're gonna spin that story. They're gonna say, oh, by the way, you went there, you did this there, you did that there, and the police knows about it. They're gonna show up on your door, right? Which is not true. But the thing is that they use fear. Fear is like the main thing here. They use fear. They do it fast so you don't have time to think, and they use fear. They try to scare you so you don't have time to think rationally that, okay, this may be a scam. I shouldn't give them the information, right? So that's basically the play here. They execute the attack, and then at the end they cover their tracks, right? They're like, okay, if you do this, if you give us this much money, if you give us this a card or this gift card, we will forget about it. You will never hear from us, blah, blah, blah. So they don't really give you any information about themselves because they want to protect themselves, right? And now this is also this is applicable to humans, to machines, to businesses, everyone, right? So that's what basically this whole cycle is, the cycle of attack and manipulate and, you know, create harm, cause harm. These are basically the main three techniques that they use. Baiting, phishing, and scareware. Baiting means that they will, what they will do is, like, what baiting means is that sometimes, I don't know if you guys have got this, like any sort of emails that, oh, there's a sale going on, or there's this product is on this price, or if you click here, you will get like a buy one, get one coupon free, right? And they're basically trying to get you to click so that they can take you to another page where you give them information. They're like, okay, where they say that, okay, if you input your name or blah, 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 we will send you, input your name, your phone number, your address, and all other information, and we will send you a coupon home so that you can use to get like 50-60% off, right? That's baiting. Now, phishing is you getting an email or a message. For example, I'm pretty sure a lot of you would have gotten the message from your bank saying, oh, your RBC account is frozen. Click on this link to unlock it, right? Or something like happened to your account, or you have this much, like somebody sent you an interact here, click here to deposit. So those things are phishing. They're basically, it's literally they're phishing for you, right? So that you would like catch like their hook, right? So, and then scareware is the last one, which we had a good example, is like somebody calling you saying you were caught at the border, right? The police is going to arrest you, so please give us your information so we can resolve this issue. So these are the three main techniques they use to get you to give them information. Now, the last topic is what we can do, how we can protect ourselves from this, right? So the whole purpose of what I just went over is cybersecurity, what it is, what it means, what techniques they use, is so that the first part of protecting yourself is to understand what the problem is, understand what's going on, right? Because if you don't understand it, you wouldn't know what's happening. So how would you protect yourself? So it's really important to familiarize or like be informed about the things that are going on in this field or in this area. Because if you don't know, if you're not informed, then you wouldn't know when you're being scammed. Because right now, the things that I'm telling you guys is the things that I know, or like basically the industry knows, right? Who knows, in the future, there might be something new that they come up with, right? There's always new things. Like when like the technology is moving so fast, the more progress technology makes, the more people will find a way to misuse it. That's been basically the sad truth about human history. There's always good and there's always bad. People will always be working to protect you guys, same as people who will always be working to harm you guys, right? It's just human nature. It's just how society is, really. I don't understand, but yeah, that's how it is. But so okay, so to protect yourself, you have to first identify a scam. You have to identify if you are being scammed or not, right? So here are the four main points that I summarized here. Are first, scammers will pretend to be from an organization you know. For example, they're gonna say, oh, they'll say, if you a lot of people have like accounts in RBC, Scotiabank, or TD. There's only 3-4 banks, right? They're just gonna say, oh, like this is from RBC, like your account is blocked, or blah blah blah, and please click here. So first thing is, they will always find an organization that you know, so that you're like, oh, okay, I know this, maybe this is my bank, right? Second, they will always say that there's a problem. The problem is that you were caught at the border. I keep on coming with that example because that's a really good example, so I keep on using it. I apologize, but yeah, the problem they will create is that, oh, there's like you got caught, right? Or there's a prize. For example, there's a coupon for like this thing that's like 50% off, right? So there's prize or a problem. This is what they will always say. Third is that they will pressure you to act immediately. The reason for that is they need to create fear and panic, so you don't have time to think before you act, right? Because you always have to think before you act. That's the basic human, because we always, like, everybody makes mistakes when we act too fast, right? So people know that, right? There's like, it's psychological manipulation, it's psychological warfare. They know that if they don't give you enough time, you won't have time to think and to realize, oh, this is maybe a scam, right? So you will just give them the information they need. And the last one is that scammers will tell you to pay in a specific way, which is they will never ask you to go to the bank, write them a check, or things that can be traced back to them, right? Or send them an Interact transfer, or send them a wire transfer to their bank account. They will never ask that because they can get caught that way. They will ask you to get a prepaid Visa card or like an Amazon gift card and other things that you can just give them the number and that can't be traced back to them. So this is basically how you can identify a scam. So first step is to identify that you are being scammed, right? And then the next step is to act on it, like what you can do. Okay, so now for example, you are on a call, somebody saying, I am from the police, or I'm from the border, the CBP, or like the immigration or whatever, this is what's happening. That's the first step, right? You're on the phone. Now, what do you do? What do you reply? How do you act, right? So what can you do? One thing is that what I said in the earlier, when I was asked that question, is block unwanted calls and text messages that you don't know, or you don't know the number, they sent you a message. Don't click on the link ever if you don't know the person, right? Block the calls and text messages as well. Second is, don't give your personal or financial information in response to a request that you didn't expect. What I mean by that is, like, for example, you went to the bank and you're like, okay, I deposited some money, or I deposited a check. Now, if an hour later the bank calls you, normally banks don't do that, right? But you have to know that, okay, I didn't even do that. Why is somebody calling me? Like, why would a bank call me to say, oh, your check wasn't deposited, when you didn't even have a check or you didn't even do anything? So if you are not sure that is something you didn't do, always go ahead and call your bank. Confirm that, is this really happening? Is this true? Or am I being scammed? Right? Always double check. Like, if somebody's like, oh, I sent you Interact, if somebody sends you a e-transfer, right? And you don't know who sent it, right? So don't go ahead and deposit it. Always like check with the person. If you don't know the person, just ignore the email, ignore the money, everything, right? Just ignore it. So, and also don't ever give your personal information or financial information, even if it seems like a legitimate website or legitimate company, because you didn't initiate it or you are not expecting that. So why would and banks don't ever call you to ask that information. Banks don't call you. What's that? What's the tax thing? Is it CRA, right? CRA doesn't call you, right? And border or immigration, they don't call you like that. And even if they do call you, they will never ask your personal information. And the reason why is that they already, if it's actually the bank or the CRA or the immigration, they already have your information. They don't need to ask you, right? If somebody's asking you, that means they don't have it. So if you think about it, right? Like, why would the bank say, give me your bank account, or what's your name? Either sometimes they're trying to confirm your identity, but don't ask them to confirm they don't confirm your identity over the phone like that for major things, right? And they don't ask any personal information or your account or anything. So those are the two things: block unwanted calls and text messages, and don't give your personal or financial information. Third is, resist the pressure to act immediately. Is like what I said, is like, they will try to scare you, is that, oh, we'll send the police to your door if you don't do this real fast, right? Just resist the pressure. Don't act, just wait, right? And think about it, right? If it's something that you did, because if you act immediately, then it's too late. You've already given them information, right? So, and also know how scammers tell you to pay. This is very important, is what I said, that scammers will never ask you to send them a wire transfer. They will never ask you to send them an Interact transfer, because if you send them a wire transfer or Interact, like e-transfer, you will have to know their email address and their bank account, right? And they don't want you to know their bank account, because if you do know, then later, if you realize you're scammed, you can go to the police and tell them, oh, I sent it to this email address, or I sent it to this bank account, and then the police will go catch them. So they don't want you to send them money through Interact or through wire transfer or anything, right? They want you to give them gift cards, because gift cards can't be tracked. Like, if I buy a gift card, if I give anybody, who will know that it came from me, right? They're like, it's just a number. It's just like, it's prepaid and they can't be tracked. So they always mostly ask you to do gift cards. And also, if you are not sure about any of these, the best thing to do is just stop and talk to someone you trust, right? Talk to another family member, talk to your friend, talk to anybody, and tell them that this is what's happening. What should I do? And it's because that's because they are not in the same situation, so they're not going to be panicking, and they might be able to tell you that, oh, this is a scam. Let's call them. Let's do this. Let's do that, because they won't be in the panic state, right? So these are basically the five main things that you can do to protect yourself from any scams, right? This is like mostly for the users or the people who use like all the devices and everything, your cell phone, your laptop, any sort of communication medium like email. This can also happen on email. This can happen on text messages, on phone calls. If there's a way to contact you, they will use it. They will use Instagram, TikTok, all the social media platforms, anywhere. They're everywhere, right? They will always utilize whatever it is at their exposure to basically attack you. So that concludes sorry for this. That concludes my presentation on cybersecurity essentials, and yeah, I will open up the stage for questions. Any questions you guys have?
Yes. Please tell us how to block the number.
Okay, yeah, I will. Yeah, no, definitely, I will. So I will send you guys like. I will also share this presentation. I will send this PowerPoint so that if you guys wanna know these steps and also these steps, these are important. So I will include this, and also how to block phone numbers. I will send like a document that maybe one of you guys can share with each other, and which will have all the steps. Because like it's hard for me to explain right now, because people have iPhone, Samsung, and all different sorts of phones, right? So there's going to be like a lot of different settings that I will have to walk through. It might take a lot of time, but yeah. So I will send you guys the information on that. Any other questions?
Thank you. The presentation was very nice.
Yeah.
Informative.
Thank you. I just I hope I was able to help somehow in in your guys' quest to protect yourselves from scams.
Thank you
It's an
so
ongoing
much.
battle.
Thank you so much, Uzair. Now, if there are no other questions, then I think I will let Uzair go. He was traveling all morning
Oh, yeah.
to come and to attend this, to do this presentation. So one more time, any questions? Okay, thank
We have
you.
learned too much. There's no question. Yeah, it is excellent presentation. Yeah,
Oh, thank
we
you.
have learned so much. Yeah, it can protect so many innocent like us. That's
Yeah.
good.
No, of course.
That's good. Yeah, God bless
That's
you.
that's the goal.
We have cleared our doubts, whatever we were having.
Yeah.
No, of course, and yeah, I will send you guys more information on this, so you guys have it in your notes, and also how to block unwanted calls and unwanted messages. So thanks everyone. It's fun.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Have
Uzair.
a good night.
Thank you so much for your time and presentation. Very, very helpful, especially the calls I'm receiving in Chinese language.
If you don't speak Chinese and you don't know anybody there, then that's an easy one, right?
Yeah, that's a dead giveaway.
Yeah, exactly.
They offer you hood in Chinese. More recommendations.
Yeah, because you know what they do is that they, like, how our phone numbers are, like how companies distribute phone numbers, right? They have, like, for example, it's a 613 and then it's 417, and then it's sequence, right? Like from 001, 002, 003. So what they do is they have this automated machines that dial each and every one of those phone numbers from 0 to 1 million or whatever numbers, and they call everybody. They don't know who's Chinese, who's not, who speaks Chinese. They just call everybody, hoping that somebody would answer, right? So they just have to just get like and as much as they want. So they just call everybody. That's how you guys get those calls. It's more not likely that they have your information. It's just that they call every phone number in the directory.
They probably have a target amount. They're like,
Yeah,
okay,
it's just that because here's the thing, right? They don't have anything else to do. That's their job, right?
that's true.
So they don't have to worry about anything. They will just keep calling. And
There are very few.
they only have to hook one fish when you're fishing, right?
Mhm.
Like you just sit there all day hoping to catch a few, right? As long as you catch a few, you're okay. It doesn't matter how many worms you waste, right? How many calls you waste. You just have to catch one or two fish. So
One
that's what they
question.
do. That's what their technique.
One
Yeah.
question. You were talking about this glasses. How this can help to a blind person? They will be able to see or not?
So I mean, those glasses are for like different conditions. For example, you guys, I don't know if you guys are familiar with like cataracts and diabetic retinopathy and macular degeneration. Some of them, and Stargardt's disease and retinopathy and optic atrophy, a lot of them are age-related. A lot of them are genetic defects, and some of them are like trauma, right? Accidents and stuff. So there's a like hundreds of different diseases and ranges of basically conditions. That's why that's why I always say that, like, obviously those glasses don't work for all those conditions, but we have some success stories. Like one like just this lady that I was talking to recently, she gave birth to her boy, and she has a daughter who's like 4 or 5 years old. And when she wore those glasses, that was the first time she saw her kids. First time. She couldn't see her kids. She
It
wore
means
those
it's,
glasses. That was the first time she saw her kids. Yeah. So for some people, it's like life-changing, right? It's like they're able to see, do the things that we normally do. Like having eyes is a very, very huge, like basically benefit that we take for granted. It's amazing, right? Like we use our eyes for everything. So it does work for a lot of like diseases and people, but we're still not there. It's still not like a device that will work for everybody. That's the goal, but we will get there.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Uzair, in future, either we will call you again for this one, for the eSight one, because we want to know
Sure.
more
Yeah.
about
No. Yeah.
how
No.
we
Of course.
help other people and things, because it's
Exactly.
very
No.
good to
Of course.
know. And you said that it's around $7,000 US dollars,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So how can a person can afford it? Is it covered?
So yeah, it's not covered under OHIP, but we have like we have a financing option where you pay $200 or $150 a month, right? You don't have to buy it. You can rent it or you can finance it. So there's quite a lot of options. And also like right now we are working on a new glasses that's going to be launched in April 2023 is what our aim is. And those ones will be cheaper. They will have the same functionalities. They will be cheaper. It's just because of, you guys know, like COVID and pandemic and the chip shortage, it's really hard to get things ready so fast. But yeah, the new glasses would be like significantly cheaper. I can't say for sure what the price would be, but it's going to be around like $1,500 US. So from 7,000 to 1,500, which would be a huge improvement. And this way they will reach a lot of people.
Okay,
So
so
yeah, I will
have a
definitely
question.
talk about those devices. Yeah.
I have a question. Will they, the new glasses, will they be lighter? Will they be sleekier or what?
They will be lighter. They will be lighter. And they are, yeah, they will be lighter basically. And it's just like a new design, sleek and more like glasses and less like a helmet, right? Basically.
Because the ones you
So
bring home are kind of bulky and
they're bulky, they're big.
I'm
And
assuming
it's
they're
just that,
heavy too.
yeah. So these ones, like for the new ones that we have, it's just they're like 170 grams. But the problem is that weight is relative, right? 100, like what I mean by that is you hold a glass for a minute or versus holding a glass for 2 hours. It's gonna start getting heavy, right? So our goal is to make sure somebody can wear these glasses without their nose feeling the pressure. So it's like you wear it for 5 minutes, it's okay, but if you keep wearing them, then there's a lot of things that are like we're currently researching on. So yeah, like hopefully when they launch, like it'll be good. But yeah, no, I will definitely love to come and talk about those glasses because yeah, and also if you guys know of people like who might need them, right? It would be a good help. Just let me know. I will ask our sales team to send like some glasses for them to try on, and if it's a good fit, we can talk about like renting or financing.
Thank you so much.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I have
Thank
a
you guys. Have a
question.
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. No
It's
worries.
not related, all these things. Actually, my son is interested in computer science and he want to go in artificial intelligence and the mechatronics. These are, what's the difference in between these two? If it's a short, then
So so there's no short answer. Like it's just that like it depends on like right now, like there's like a huge demand in artificial intelligence and stuff like that. But before like people start, like I always say that you need to know that if you can do it. Like for example, like my mother-in-law said that I go to play soccer in minus 30 degrees, right? Because I have the passion for it. Like somebody else wouldn't want to go and play, right? So it's the same thing with like studies or with your career. If you want to do that, if you have a passion for it, it won't feel like work, or it won't feel like you're studying or you're having a hard time. You will do it. So it's really important to first realize that you have a passion for it, and then everything is hard. Everything that's worth doing is always hard. It's never going to be easy. You always have to work hard. It's never going to come naturally. The only thing you can make sure is that you have the passion for it and you do want to do it. So that's like I think the most important thing. It's hard only if you don't want to do it. But yeah, so it's just like it's a
which
really good field.
university,
Like
which university
so
is good for these degrees?
so I mean mechatronics is like Waterloo is really good. I don't know where you are in Toronto.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Waterloo, and there's other universities too. Like Ryerson has a good master's
What's
program,
the
but
one in oh my God, Hamilton? Which one is that?
McMaster is good too.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that's
McMaster is
good too.
too.
They have a mechatronics program.
Yeah, they do. And I think for undergrad, like it's good. Like yeah, McMaster, Waterloo, or Ryerson, or any of those are like they're good. They have good program and good future aspects for yourself.
Uzair was an international student for a number of years.
Yeah.
He did his engineering in from Vancouver. Was that Simon Fraser?
Yeah, Simon Fraser.
Yeah.
Vancouver, yeah.
So from Vancouver, because he doesn't like the cold. And then he married my daughter, and now we live outside Ottawa.
Yeah, I
And
know.
most winter days, it's like minus 25.
I know. She misses Toronto and everything, but like for me, I get to do what I want to do, like play soccer, work where I want to work.
True.
It's just that there's not many food options, right? Like that's why we
Food option.
always drive to Toronto and like get like a bunch of food and groceries and stuff. But other than that, I think Ottawa is like fun.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
bad.
I mean, Vancouver is nice and warm.
Vancouver, yeah.
I think
exactly.
it rains a lot.
It does.
But the reason I'm laughing is because he thought, okay, I'll go to Vancouver, I'll do this, it's nice weather there, it's tropical. And then he married someone who is established here, and it's all good now.
मीना, आपने कभी सोचा था जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बन रही थी जब ये मॉल्टन वुमेन काउंसिल, छोटी सी रबिया आपके साथ थी, कि एक दिन उजैर आके यहाँ प्रेजेंटेशन दे रहे होंगे?
Oh, no, not at all. रबिया, हाँ, लिटरली वो उंगली पकड़ के चलाती थी मैं उसको, लाइक she went everywhere with me, जहाँ पर ले जा सकती थी। तो yeah, that's life, you know, things turn out very different. हम इमेजिन भी नहीं कर सकते कि 10 years के बाद हम कहाँ होंगे, हमारे बच्चे क्या कर रहे होंगे।
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल।
So yeah. So once again, thank you so much. You can stay and enjoy the girl talk
I'll go
and go and rest.
get set
I
up. Yeah.
understand.
Thank
All right,
you,
thank you
and
guys.
wishing you all the best
Yeah.
for second baby.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Hopefully everything will be okay.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Bye guys. Good night.
Good night.